You're watching TVC Breakfast. Now, founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Aare Afe Babalola, has insisted that activist lawyer Dele Farotimi was out to tarnish his reputation, which he had built following many years of hard work and diligent toil. The police in Ekiti State had, following a petition written by Babalola, arrested Farotimi in Lagos and arraigned him before an Ekiti State Magistrates Court in Ado Ekiti over allegations bordering on defaming the founder. Although the case has been adjourned to December the 10th, Mr. Afe Babalola says that failure of Mr. Farotimi to show proof he should be prosecuted for criminal defamation according to the law. Joining us in the studio to give a shared legal perspective is a lawyer and social development advocate, Olutubosun Oshifowora. Thank you so much for joining us on TVC.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure to be here, and compliment of the season.
Compliment of the season. Oh, yeah, that's here we go. I'd like to just start with the call, or probably looking at the senior advocate of Nigeria's position, Aare Afe Babalola, and is an influential figure in Nigeria's legal system. He has an established reputation. He has an established reputation, I should say. Could you provide more context on the specific claims in Dele Farotimi's book that you believe might have constituted defamation and undermine his professional integrity? Okay,
I think, let me say this first. Since this issue started, in fact, the whole of last week, I told a friend of mine that, do you know we were talking about the tax reforms?
Yeah.
And this news just came and overshadowed everything. And on all groups, on all different places where I find myself online, that's literally what people have been talking about, and it's a big thing, and it's also something that everybody is looking forward to the outcome. But I've also seen a lot of pontifications by lawyers and non-lawyers. In fact, the contribution of non-lawyers, it's amazing, and people have gone on the net reading people all kinds.
Emergency lawyers.
Emergency lawyers. So accidental lawyers, I call them. Okay. So, but basically, I think we should start with the fact that what's actually defamation, all right, and how does our law actually define defamation? Another thing we also have to be conscious of is that the matter is sub judice. So there's an extent to which we can actually, but at the same time, we will talk on what is available to the public, and also educate ourselves and let people know how this is. And for my emergency lawyers, I must say that after this, don't go and practice. So it's an offense on its own, So, but basically, defamation, according to our laws, is an act of communicating false statements about a person that damages the person's reputation. All right, so that's in plain language. If I publish something and the thing is offensive to you, all right, there are three dimensions to it. One, the person who published the material. Number two, the person against whom that thing was said. And then number three, other people must see it. Those are the basic elements in it. So there are three dimensions to, if we're talking and I say something against you, just between the two of us, it doesn't fulfill the conditions for which the law has laid down for the definition of defamation. It has to go to a third party. All right, now that's the first part. The second part also is that I must establish that what you have said is damaging to I must establish that words were said, all right, and that it's damaging to my person and to my reputation. And then these are the things that I can act. Then I will now establish also that in the eyes of the third party, my reputation has been brought down. Now, so that's basically what it is. That's according to the law. Now, so one of the things also that I've also seen, which I think we can put out there, is people have asked, is it a criminal offense? Is it a civil offense? That's right. Those are the things. In fact, that's like the biggest part as it relates to Dele and Aare, all right. And the fact is that in our jurisdiction, it's both criminal and civil, all right. One of the things we also have to establish is that defamation is of two types. There's slander, there's libel. Slander are words spoken, libel are the things written or pictures published. All right, now, so that is the foundation to this. So Aare came out and said, no, before Aare came out, there was a book published by Dele. There's no denying the fact. Dele is the writer and the publisher. All right, now, so most times when it comes to issues of defamation, I think we'll still get there in the course of this, the writer and the publishers are sued along. But in this situation, it's just one person. So I don't know how that happened, but he's the one who published his book by himself. So there's no publisher being dragged along. So Aare Afe Babalola, fantastic, is everything. He's one of he's an elder statesman. Is one of the legal luminaries we have around. Is one person that a lot of people actually, look up to and everything. He's on record that he's one of the most generous lawyers that a lot of people have come across. And, it's out there in the public. Now, and we've seen his contributions to law. He's got books published, that a lot of us still consult.
He's got school that actually, teaches law.
Exactly. So he's a big man in his own spare and by all standards, and that's it. So he's come out to say that Dele Farotimi published a book. We all know Dele Farotimi, at least if you don't know anything, you know him with the last election, the obedient movement and all that. He's also an activist. We've seen him severally on sister stations and, so he's fierce, he talks, he doesn't hold back.
I think I've heard him say, describe himself as a retired lawyer, sometimes.
Yeah, I saw that somewhere. Now, but these two figures are known to literally everybody in this space. Now, so Dele has published a book, and the book, I have my own reservation, but because we're just here to analyze,
That's right.
I mean, I don't like the fact that somebody comes out and paint an entire institution with one brush. One of the things I will hold brief for my constituency, which is the legal constituency. In every constituency, I always say this, behind Christ, there was a Judas. So in every institution, you will find one or two persons who are not acting in line with the tenets and ethics of the space and profession. Now, so we've seen instances where even the judiciary itself, through its cleansing system, have suspended judges. We've seen instances where judges have been dismissed for infractions. So definitely it shows that we have one or two that are not acting in line with the ethics of the profession. It's not debatable based on the sanctions that have been meted out on these people. Now, so we can't deny the fact that there are one or two bad eggs in the system. But you see, it becomes a disservice to the upright ones when you label an entire system as criminal, as corrupt. That's the only reservation I have here. Now, but beyond labeling the entire institution, we have now narrowed down to this, which is Aare coming out to say, we saw, it's not just the book. Dele Farotimi went on different platforms, and he went on, maybe in the course of trying to market his book, because there was reference to the book and in everything, but the fact remains that he has said things that Aare Afe Babalola has come out to say that this is damaging to my reputation. It's not just damaging, these allegations are false. Right. Now, but one of the things I also like to say by way of caution is that it is the court. There's a Latin maxim. I don't like speaking Latin.
Well, you have to.
No, but the maxim is simple. It says it is the court that knows the law. Sometimes, that happens with clients. Maybe if you go to court, you see where lawyers will shout, do all kinds of drama and everything. There might be the other lawyer who is just gentle, saying things. At the end of the day, by the time the decision will come out, you just find that it will go the other way. So it's not about the shout. It's not about the drama. It's not about the theatrics. It's about the law. And it is the court that determines the law. So back to where we're coming from, people have talked about, is it criminal? Is it civil? Under our laws, if you look at the Criminal Code, Section 375, it talks about the fact that defamation is criminal offense, punishable by 1 year imprisonment, punishable by 2 years imprisonment. So that is established. What is in the law is there. There are decisions of the Supreme Court that says that if there's no law establishing a crime, you cannot hold someone to it. Now, so this is established under our criminal code, so that is as far as it goes. Also, defamation can also be a civil offense. I mean, well, we'll call it civil infraction, where you can actually bring an action in court against the person. In the court of law, high court of law, and then you say that your reputation has been damaged, and then you want to seek redress. Your redress can come in form of monetary compensation for what the person has said. It can come in form of injunction, stopping the books or the publication from being sold, or taking out that the libelous part if you get the order of the court in that regard. So it can come in different forms. The books can be taken off the shelves, the part where maybe the person will republish and take out that part. Yeah. It can give you monetary compensation, but also the person who is being accused of libelous material also has his own defense. One of the defense is truth. If I say you have stolen my phone and I prove it and we found the phone in your pocket, that's right, that establishes the fact that you have stolen. So you cannot say I've defamed you when we found the incriminating material in your possession. Now, so one of the defense to defamation is truth. Another defense is consent. If you give me consent to publish some things about you, and I can provide and produce the consent, you can't turn around and say that, well, I've looked at it, that thing you published was defamatory. But this is your written consent.
So are there people that actually consent to them being defamed?
No, so no. This is how it works. Maybe there's a material that involves you, and I get in touch with you and I say that, please, we want to use this for our program. Then the thing goes, and you know these days of likes and share, you know, and you now found that you go and read comment and you found out that, hey, this thing is not working, and then you turn around. You cannot. That's right. Particularly whether your consent was verbal or written, most preferably written, so that I can have something to, it will be hard to establish that, you know, yes. So these are some of the defenses. There are a lot of defenses to it, but truth is one, consent is another, and then you have some other ones. So it's
all right. Right. So let's quickly take this very quick break. We'll be right back to continue from where we left off, talking about the Dele Farotimi and Aare Afe Babalola saga. Just stay with us.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Milo Snacks, snack of future champions. Milo!
Hi, this is Dr. Abiola Salami, the world-class performance strategist, inviting all business leaders and career professionals to start 2025 on the right foot with forward-thinking strategies and powerful connections at the New Year Kickoff Summit 2025. Visit www.kickoffsummit.com to register. Until I see you there, keep rocking your world like a champion.
Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. We've been talking about the founder of Afe Babalola University, Ado Ekiti, Aare Afe Babalola, who had insisted that the activist lawyer, Dele Farotimi, has been out to tarnish his image or his reputation, which he had built following many years of hard work and diligent toil. And we've been seeking understanding to this legalese, so to speak, by speaking with a lawyer and social development advocate, Olutobo Sonjifowora. Thank you so much for making us understand, some of the intricate issues.
He was looking like a lecturer.
but very, very, pedagogic. Let me put it that way.
And also, to correct some of the misinformation that we've seen online in the past few days. People have also mentioned, and what you've clarified, that it can be a criminal matter, it can be a civil issue. But I think another issue, or the basic issue about this, is how he was actually, arrested and all of that. We saw a video online where some have tagged abduction, some have tagged it kidnap, and all of that. And there are also claims about how other persons in his office were harassed. So from your own experience as a lawyer, Is this standard police procedure? And
right,
is there any issue on jurisdiction having to come all the way when the Lagos State Command
we will look into that.
should have addressed
We will look into that. Now, one of the things we also need to clarify was that Dele Farotimi we were made to realize, understand by the police that he was arrested pursuant to a bench warrant by a court. That and I saw some, he granted some press, he had an interview.
Press perfect.
Yes, that where he talked about, he was referencing the fact that something is happening in Ekiti and all that. Now, so this is how it goes. If there's a criminal charge against a person, most times what you have is that the person is first arrested by the police, then arraigned in court. Now, so in instances where we learned he's maybe met with the police, written some statements and all that, then they charge the matter to court. If the person doesn't come to court, all right, the court will proceed and then issue a bench warrant in a criminal proceeding. All right? It's in civil, it is a different case entirely. With civil, what you have in extreme cases are where somebody will be subpoenaed by the court to come and give evidence. But in this instance, where what we have been made to realize is that there was a criminal charge preferred against him. He didn't show up in court. He literally rebuffed the court based on information available. And that's why a bench warrant was issued. What's a bench warrant? The judge is the bench. Where the lawyers are is referred to as the bar. Now, so the bench warrant was given by the magistrate that this person didn't show up. Like it's like you're in contempt of court. Contempt. Now, so that happens. This also happens. Bench warrants are also issued in instances where even where somebody has been coming to court in criminal proceedings, and then the person fails to show up 1 or 2 times. The prosecution or the prosecutor can actually make an application to court that this person, though on bail, has jumped bail, or this person on whatever kind of, maybe administrative bail or whatever kind of bail, is no longer coming to court. Then the court will issue a bench warrant that wherever this person is found, he should be brought to court. So that's basically what has happened in this instance. On the matter of jurisdiction, all right, the magistrate court is a court of summary jurisdiction. It has both criminal and civil jurisdiction. Now, so then if you look at the charge, now there are 2 things we have. I've seen something online. The second one I cannot verify, but the first one, before the magistrate at Ekiti, was it was a criminal charge against Dele Farotimi, and they alleged that he's published a book, said some things about this person, whom we saw his petition to the police online as well. So he's been prosecuted by the Commissioner of Police, all right, and then he's been brought before the court. Now, so you see the issue of jurisdiction, we can argue what we want. Yeah. It's the court that will determine whether it has jurisdiction or not. But now, as it works in law, the way it is that before you do anything, once your jurisdiction has been challenged, you will leave everything and face the issue of jurisdiction, because jurisdiction is what gives you the right to actually go ahead with the case. Right. If you do not have jurisdiction, it can be raised at the beginning, it can be raised at the ending of the matter. Once it's raised and the court finds out that it doesn't have jurisdiction, the court will abdicate. That's why I said it is the court that knows the law. So Dele Farotimi himself is a lawyer. He's not a small fry. So he has his own defense. So I guess by the 10th of this month, we will see the fireworks proper. Now, but I've seen also another charge online at Federal High Court Ekiti, brought pursuant to the Cybercrime Protection and Prevention Law of 2015. Right. So I don't know. You cannot be prosecuted twice or at the same time on the same matter. It's called double jeopardy. Now, so one will have to wait for one, particularly if it's on the same subject matter and with the same party, then they have to give, one has to give.
Okay, so
that's basically what it is. But as it stands, what we know and what is in the public space and what we have is the one that is coming up tomorrow at the court, the magistrate court Ekiti. So one of the things that can happen, let me tell you what may happen, is that tomorrow when he's brought before the court, first thing is it's a bailable offense. Okay. So they can look into the issue of bail. I don't know what his lawyers are preparing. They can also bring up the issue of jurisdiction. Challenging the jurisdiction, they can, then they can also make applications for the charges to be quashed against him. Yeah. Now, so whichever way he goes, if he goes that the court doesn't have jurisdiction, then the court will recluse himself, and then the police will now have to go back and see how they will go about it. Maybe go to a different court or a court that has jurisdiction, then they start all over again. All right. Now, but if the court establishes jurisdiction, then the court will proceed with the charge of defamation of Aare Afe Babalola. That
remains to be seen how it's going to go, or everyone is waiting with bated breath to see what's going to come out. But if you look at the issue of freedom of expression, which critics have said, this is just like setting the precedent for suppressing dissent, and particularly when it involves, powerful men, the like of Afe Babalola. So you don't speak. When you see evil, you don't say any evil about them, if there is any. But others are now saying, no, it can't be seen that way. But so how can the legal system safeguard freedom of expression while addressing legitimate concerns about defamation?
All right. Now, so this is it. Freedom itself is not absolute. If you look at the same constitution that has given you the freedom of expression,
it took it back with
there are exceptions to it. So that's basically what it is. The fact that you have the freedom of expression doesn't mean you go out there and start spewing trash, particularly about person. The same constitution that gives you the right to express yourself has given me the right to my private life. Now, so if you bring my private life into the open, then you're violating my own right. So literally, in law, they say that your own right starts and stops where the next person's right begins. So it's clear and it's simple. Now, at the same time, we also, in trying to ensure and enshrine freedom of expression, we must also guard against things that will actually stifle people from expressing themselves. So the laws are there, the laws are clear. Now, so if somebody has said the exception to freedom of expression is defamatory charge, because if you have defamed me, I can't say because I'm powerful or I'm a rich man. It's nature, it's life that is benevolent to me, that has put me where I am. So you cannot say because this is a rich man, then he should not assert his right. For we have established the fact that this is a 95-year-old man who has been in practice for almost 60 years. And then from the book, which we can talk about, it was said, Dele himself said it on air, he said it in the book, that Aare Afe Babalola corrupted the entire Supreme Court. Now, so one of the things, in fact, one of the things I've seen
even
here
the court has been dragged into this.
The court has been dragged into it. A lot of persons. So I think maybe because Aare is the biggest here, maybe everybody is waiting like, you finish your case, and then we will come. Because a lot of names have been dragged. Prominent people have been dragged into this thing. So, and I don't see them just sleeping on their right. But when and how they want to come, it's another kettle of fish entirely. So one of the things also...
So we should just grab a cup popcorn and wait for the
You might have to need a lot of popcorn. Because one of the things also that, that I've seen with supporters of Mr. Dele Farotimi, I see people who are jubilant about the fact that the book is a bestseller on Amazon, which is debatable. All right. That is also a weapon for the person alleging defamation, because that shows that there's widespread
painting such person in the bad light.
Is widespread, and then everybody has. So it has just showed me how much. I mean, I'm putting it in my own case. If something has gone that viral,
so the more global. The level of defamation,
the more money I may want to claim from you. So I maybe, I mean, on a lighter note, a friend just said, I mean, let me just say this, on a lighter note, a friend said that with the way this thing is going and the global acclaim #1 status of the book, that this man, if he's found guilty, he may need a sequel to pay.
No, there's crowdfunding. He's got a lot of following. He's got a lot of people who are advocating, his release and all of that. So they might actually crowdfund. That is if.
Let me say this: beware of crowd. My late dad used to say something that those who God on the archer, somebody who shoots arrow.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, they say it in Yoruba, it's a very simple thing, but I'll explain it in English. My dad will say, Tasi, Kibolo Fawa. Those who tell you, keep shooting your arrows, they won't go and pick your arrows for you. You'll be the one to go and... He is where he is now. Everybody has gone about their life. When they see him again, they go about it. So if you depend on crowdfunding, I'm not passing any verdict on him, but I'm just saying that people should be aware of crowd. All this likes and share, like and follow, they don't really translate to reality.
If they could not translate to votes.
Yeah, exactly. So one should be very careful about what people say.
Right. So let's look for a way out.
Yes.
For him ahead of tomorrow. You mentioned truth. You also mentioned
You're briefing me on behalf.
Yes.
So
you mentioned truth. You mentioned consent as a possible defense. Public interest, is that a justifiable defense in this case? Does this count?
No.
Especially, possibly he's saying he's possibly speaking on behalf, looking at the number of followers and all of that.
You see, let's narrow down to his book. As far as I'm concerned, some of those things were heavy. He wasn't speaking, I'm a lawyer, he's not speaking, he wasn't speaking. He wrote his book, he put his name and his father's name there.
Yeah.
All right? And he spoke specifically to something. One of the things, my own take, I will give you my own opinion on this, is that if things like this are allowed to thrive, we should not play down the fact that there is rot in the system and we need whistleblowers to do that. That is a fantastic... If these things are proven to be true, then this is the best thing that has happened to this country. But if it's found out to be false, then this has to be nipped in the bud. Because if it's found out to be... I've spoken for truth now. If it happened to be false and you don't do anything about it, that means that any lawyer who loses a case, and he feels, losing a case, people get emotional. Some of us have gotten to that level that, even no matter what level you get to,
that's right,
you still get emotional about, because you put in a lot of things, a lot of contribution and everything. So when you lose a case, particularly at that highest level, you know that there's nothing out. There's a part of you that feels, aggrieved and all that. So that means that if this is found out to be false and nothing is done about it and allowed to thrive, it means that every lawyer who loses a case will go and write a book and lampoon everybody. At the end of the day, you will destroy the institution.
Well, that's a very, very a big one. A thought for, it's something that we just have to be mindful of when it comes to you sharing information about someone. Maybe you had someone say something. Although, Mr. Farotimi has said, let them go to court. Now they're in court, so we'll see what comes out, starting from tomorrow. A lawyer and social development advocate, Olutubosun Oshifora. Thank you so much for the lecture.
Thank you very much.
And making it very, very, breaking it down, to the brass tacks. Thank
Always
you so
a pleasure.
much.
So remember how much popcorn you have to get.
You have to grab.
You might have to get a popcorn machine.
Absolutely. And start popping and